Manjimup is at the heart of a timber cutting area and is surrounded by forest. The jarrah trees have long been an important source of timber, and they were originally called Swan River mahogany by the early settlers. The largest living tree in the area is over 90 metres tall and has a girth of over 11 metres. Some trees may be as much as 1200 years old. One of the many attractions in the area are the tower trees. These are fire lookout platforms built in the top of some of the tallest trees. The first of them was constructed in 1937. The closest one to town is called King Jarrah. The tree is thought to be over 500 years old, is 45 metres tall and has a girth of 2.6 metres. There are picnic and barbecue facilities available nearby for you to enjoy. Another industry that was once gaining a foothold in the area was tobacco growing. Things looked very promising in the 1958-59 season, when over £2 million was made from the crop. When this dropped to around £14,000 2 years later, the new industry collapsed. The first European to explore the area was Thomas Bannister in 1831. The region was first settled in 1856 by the Muir family. Thomas Muir was a timber cutter, and he was followed by Charles Rose and Frank Hall in 1859. The town site was gazetted as Manjimup with 2 Ps in 1903, but when the railway terminus arrived 5 kilometres away, the town was shifted, and the first settlement was renamed Balbarup. The new Manjimup was gazetted in 1910. The double P in the original name was dropped 5 years later. The town was linked to Perth by rail in 1911. The name, like many others, comes from the Aboriginal language, which is the edible root of the yam daisy. The area was part of the group settlement scheme that started to function in the 1920s. Group 10 was the mainstay of the area, and some 20 families moved into heavily timbered countryside to try their luck. The scheme, unfortunately, was not a great success, but at least it was a start. The Australian poet Adam Lindsay Gordon took up land in the area and tried sheep farming. The venture was not successful, and unable to stand the difficult conditions, he moved on to live in hundreds of other Australian towns, judging by the number that claim he once lived there. The Manjimup Heritage Park in town is a great place to explore and have a picnic or grab a bite to eat at the cafe. There are 3 museums located in the park, with the largest being the Power Up Electricity Museum. This looks at the history of electrical power generation and has some interesting interactive displays that are great fun for younger children. The Steam Museum houses some old steam engines, as these were very important in the early development of Manjimup and the surrounding timber mills. Lastly, there is the State Timber Museum, and sadly, this is quite a bit of a letdown. The rather grand name might suggest it's a large museum with lots of interesting exhibits, but in reality, it's a tiny little building with a bunch of informative wall panels and not much else. To charge admission for this one, even though it's only $4, seems a little bit presumptive to me. The entire park covers 10 hectares of natural bush. It also has an adventure playground with a giant slide. The historic hamlet is a reconstruction of some of the buildings that would have been part of many old settlements. A police station, Lockup and School are just some of the buildings featured here. Entry to this attraction is free. Check out the rail relics in the park that tell the story of railways in the area, or enjoy a barbecue at one of the free barbecues located around the park. There are a number of other attractions around the town that you might consider visiting. There are a few in close proximity to each other along Graphite Road, about 20 minutes west of town. These include One Tree Bridge, Glenrowan Pool, the Four Aces, and Greens Island Campground. One Tree Bridge was created by felling one large tree, and its story is told as follows. Until 1904, the only way across the Donnelly River was a hazardous natural rocky ford, about 500 metres upstream of the present bridge. The opening of the graphite mining venture demanded a safer crossing. Hubert and Walter Giblett located an enormous carry tree and, using their skill as axemen, felled it so that it dropped across the 25-metre river to form the basis of a bridge. The superstructure was hewn from nearby jarrah trees. Cross pieces or bolsters were cut and set into the carry log. Then slabs of jarrah were laid across each end. Finally, hand-hewn jarrah decking was added. On the particularly wet and stormy winter of 1964, the old log bridge broke and fell into the river. Lack of a central support, the uneven, unprepared foundation under the western end, and use by heavy equipment such as bulldozers all undoubtedly hastened the bridge's demise. The Forests Department Glenrowan Work Gang pulled the old bridge out onto the west bank in 1971, where they faithfully rebuilt the structure. The rebuilt section is only 17 metres long. After more than 80 years of use and weather, the log is still sound, testimony to the great strength and hardness of carry. Glenrowan Pool is just south of One Tree Bridge and is a large pool in the Donnelly River. It's a nice natural setting and a pleasant spot to sit and relax. You can take a walk through the bush, spot local bird life, or even have a swim. There's a toilet available here and dogs are allowed in the area. The Four Aces is an attraction located about 1 kilometre to the west of One Tree Bridge. This is where 4 massive carry trees stand, evenly spaced out in a perfectly straight line. There's an information shelter nearby and a loop walk trail. A second walk trail will take you back to One Tree Bridge. Greens Island is a pleasant campsite. The entrance to the campsite is located west of Four Aces and is accessed by a Ladycroft Road. The road in is unsealed and can be corrugated. This is a national park campsite, but dogs are permitted here. Camping fees are charged and toilets are available. There are 21 campsites scattered around a central grassy clearing. The campsite operates on a first-come, first-served basis. Another interesting place to visit in the area is Fonties Pool. Access to the pool is via Southwestern Highway and 7 Day Road. This popular local swimming area and gardens almost didn't manage to survive. The pool was created when Archimede Fontanini, an Italian immigrant, built a dam across the stream on his property. His aim was to let the silt build up and then demolish the dam and use the more fertile area for growing crops. However, the pool quickly became a popular swimming spot for locals, so that when Archie decided it was time to remove the dam, he was petitioned to leave it intact and charge an entry fee to help with the upkeep. Fonties Pool opened for business in 1925. When Archie became too old to upkeep the pool, it closed for a time but was reopened in 1979, and Archie was still around to see the reopening. Today, Fonties Pool is a caravan park and is a great place to stay. The pool is very picturesque and is still a favourite swimming spot for locals and visitors. 10 kilometres south of town, via Southwest Highway, is the Diamond Tree. This is one of the fire lookout trees. It was constructed in 1940 and used as a fire watchtower. It became a tourist attraction, and those brave enough to do it could climb it at one time. There are a number of walk trails in the area that you can explore, and a brochure is available from the local visitor centre. The trails include East Manjimup, West Manjimup, South Manjimup, Anuka, King Jarrah, the Dean Mill Heritage Trail, and the Manji Loop Trail. Fresh local produce is available at the markets on the first and third Saturday of each month, and any Saturday that falls on a public holiday weekend. The markets are held at Manjin Park on Mottram Street. Apart from fresh produce, you'll also find preserves, oils, nut, bread, cakes and craft items available for sale.